commonly referred to as conditionals, and not conditional formatting, but conditionals, sum if equal to either X or Y. Why is or so important? Stay tuned. And I'll show you 3 different ways to solve this problem with multiple criteria. Let's get started. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Here is a great example of versatility. What are we doing? Sum if equal to either X or Y. X and Y are our criteria. Therefore, we're looking at multiple scenarios. What tools can we use? There are 3. We have the SUMIF, the sum with the SUMIF, and we have a sum product. I'll explain all 3. Let me explain the range. Notice we have 2 name ranges here. We have total, region. Our X will be the region and the Y will be the total. We can be more specific. We can go somewhere within the range. We could say, I want to sum up everything in the north, or I want to sum up everything in the east. Give me all the numbers. Here's the syntax. Sum if, range, criteria, and an optional sum range. Sum, we're just looking at a number, adds a number together. Sum if, sums numbers that meet a criteria, and then sum product multiplies arrays of numbers and sums the resultant array. That's just too complicated. We know what the sum product does. We have an array and we can throw all kinds of stuff in there, and it's going to first multiply. Remember the ones and the zeros? That's the multiplication. Then we sum those babies up. Anything that'll be a 1 will be representative of the region or criteria 1, and then the second will be the totals. Let me show you. Let's start off with the sum if. You know what the sum if does. If, in here, we typed in our criteria. We didn't identify boxes here. We should, so we don't have to hard code, because if we want east, we'll have to type that in. We're just going to work with this example, and you know in the future, we could put west up here. We could simply just change this to west. We'd also need to go north. Go just type north. You notice what we're doing here. North. You're asking, why is there west and north? Well, there's multiple criteria. As I've shown in the past, if we have a sum if, we can add another sum if to it. You're saying, isn't there an easier way to do that? Well, of course, there's a sum product. Here's an example. We want to change this to, we want to change north to north. And I don't know if I just screwed that up too. I didn't highlight the quotes. So click that in. You see what I just did? I made life a lot easier, because now I go in and change this to east or what have you. You can see totals have been inputted and ranges have been inputted. Highlight. You don't want a hard code like I just did, like this first example. So I just removed the hard codes. They're probably hard coded here. That's fine, because we have an array constant, and I just want to explain that to you. Here we have hard codes, notice, and I'm just going to get rid of these real quick. So we'll hit west and then we'll hit north. And that way, if we change them, I don't have to go in back and do what I just did. You kind of get the idea here. All we're doing is saying, forget the second region. We want to go sum if region. We have region here. We want the total based on J2. You can see where J2 kind of gets buried in there, and you're asking, what? Well, here, just range. It's always easier to do this. Just go into the cell with the functions, and look, you have the range, and it says the blue. Then our criteria says J2, which is now it's shown in red. It's beautiful, isn't it? And then we go to total, and it's in pink. Well, it's kind of in pink. And it kind of tells you, well, sum those up. If there's any west in the region, sum them up. Well, look, are there any wests? No. So that's going to show us a big old 0. Then you're asking, well, where does 24,000 come from? Well, we're not done. Look, we have a plus, and then we have another function, sum if. We're doing the same thing. We're just mirroring the other one, but we're changing the criteria. We're going to north. We'll go to north. There are 3 norths in here. Add those up, and they're going to sum to 24,434. The second example, sum. Sum if region, here's our region. Let's just do this again. Highlight this thing. Number. The sum is always looking for a number. Over here, sum wants to add numbers. What are the numbers? Let's look. We have a range. Let's go back. You know what we just did with the sum range. All we're doing is saying, instead of adding this plus, see how we have this sum if, sum if? Here, we're going sum if, and instead of adding, we're just going to say, here's this constant array. We want you to look. We want sum to say, hey, sum if, go in there and find west, and let me know if there's anything in west. And then it's going to say, then go to north, and let me know if there's anything in north. And if there are, I want their totals. The sum will go in and total them up. Last, we can use a sum product. And it's pretty much, it's just structurally built a little different. Here we have sum product, we have an array. That's it. And then everything else is optional. Well, what do you mean by an array? Here it is. It just says, go do whatever you want. Build this thing so it sums up to whatever outcome you want. And you're saying, well, what does that mean? What do we want? We want totals. That's our ultimate goal. Times, we want region equals J2 plus region J3. Remember, we have a sum product, so we're going to multiply whatever this total is by the number here. We have region J2, and J2 is going to be west. Product's going to go, well, show me what you got. Total is whatever this is, and then region could be 1 or 2, and then we have this other region. So let's dig in here and look. Let's look at this array a little more. Let's highlight total 9. And there, what we're looking at are these totals. And then we go over to region. We hit F9. See, it says false. What does that mean? If you take false, false equals, come on, you know now, false equals 0. Okay? And then go over region 3, J3, hit F9, and we have true, true, false, 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 false. So what are we doing? What's the product function here? We go, where's true? It is the first number, north. Then we take 2809 times, and this is going to convert over to a 1. Some product does it automatically. This information is converted over to ones and zeros. How? That's the function of the sum product feature. It will convert these. I'll show you. We'll escape out of here. We'll grab this range after the asterisk, highlight it, F9. You see we have all those trues and falses. It converts the trues and the falses and then multiplies. This is what happens, F9. We take, here's the product part of the sum product. We take 2809 times 1. 7225 times 1. 12769, 0. Why are we not using a unary here? Because we're counting numbers. We're not dealing with text. We're counting the numbers, so we don't have to use that double negative. And then sum comes in and just adds those up. It adds up 2809, 7225, 0, 1400, 000. And it comes up with 24,434. Be sure to check out our extensive courses, which include Excel data and text manipulation for advanced users, beginners, intermediate. We also have this great essentials, the A to Z for advanced users, the comprehensive beginner level 1 and 2. Then we have our advanced formulas, strictly formulas, great set of courses, which we have a beginner level 1 and beginner level 2, this intermediate level, and we have this advanced level. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. If you are confused about what I'm doing with this F9, hit escape. Always remember to hit escape. Just go in here. This captures the entire array, and that's just going to give us the total number, the sum. Then just go in, highlight, If it doesn't work, then narrow your range. This won't work. Hit F9 and see you get a formula error. Ignore it. Then go back, find an area, highlight it, and hit F9. There's the true falses. Hit the regions, F9. You see how this is converted? It changes this over. It's multiplying. False times true is 0. False times true is 0. False times, this is going to be all zeros. And then this is going to be 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. Why is this important? Remember here at the beginning, sum if either x or y. We know x is going to be all zeros, but that doesn't stop us from looking over here at the y because we have this plus feature. If it was an and feature, this would be an and. It would calculate to nothing. I'll show you. We can just add an asterisk here and we should get a 0. Why does that happen? Because we're asking, instead of or, sum if equal to a and b, or x and y. So west and north would have to be in the argument. Hit Control Z a couple times here. Here, in order for this to work, we would need to change west to east. Then we'd have to change this symbol here to allow for an and function. Do you get that? We can have an and function theoretically by just changing east from west to east. So then it would be the region, J2, which is west. Now we're going to change it to east. Sum if region north. That's saying and function, east and north. But to explicitly put it in there, we could just put a star. You get the idea. You can change the sum product to an and function or an or function. It's currently at an or. Brad Williams, Excel Prime, Williams out.